Okay, think about your daily decisions for a second. From the cereal you chose this morning, maybe, to how you responded to that tricky email. We make just countless choices, right? Big ones, small ones, and we generally believe they're pure expressions of our free will. But what if? What if much of that choice is actually happening, well, kind of on autopilot? Today, we're going to challenge that whole idea. Okay, kind of pack this. So our sources for this deep dive, they suggest something maybe a little uncomfortable. It's the idea that a surprising amount of what we call choice is quietly, pre-scripted, the I making those decisions. It isn't always your authentic conscious self. Instead, it's often, well, this amalgamation of inherited belief, cultural conditioning, maybe religious frameworks, and even unresolved trauma patterns. It's almost like we're living inside the architecture of this pre-written programming, maybe without even realizing that the blueprint, the very blueprint of who we are, can actually be rewritten.
So from this perspective, true free will is way more profound than just picking between option A and option B. It's the capacity to consciously define who you are, right? And then to act from the highest truth of that self. And this demands a really powerful step, moving beyond the unconscious scripts, the ones handed down through your family, your society, even history itself.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how this particular transmission frames this. They call it a state of sovereignty. It basically posits that the true author of our life is what they term our Oversoul.
Oversoul.
Right. You can think of it as your unconditioned eternal essence, your deepest true self, the part that's always connected to, let's say, a higher wisdom. It's really about tapping into that deeper, unconstrained aspect of ourselves.
That makes sense. And that idea, connecting to a deeper self, it leads us perfectly into today's deep dive. We're looking at a truly unique source titled Aspects of Human Free Will We Haven't Fully Claimed. Now, this wisdom comes through two distinct voices. First, there's Aima Being, described as a quantum being coach and founder of the Aima Being Expanded Awareness podcast. They seem to guide people through practices integrating quantum consciousness, multidimensional healing, really helping align the physical self with higher states of awareness. And then there's the Council of 52, which the source describes as an interdimensional assembly, apparently representing multiple star systems, and holding what they call harmonic blueprints for Earth's evolution.
Like an energetic template, almost.
Yeah, like a template for humanity's higher potential. And they're very clear, apparently.
Yeah.
Their communications are not commands, but invitations.
Just invitations. That's key.
So our mission today is really to explore these overlooked aspects of human free will. Because from this source's perspective, reclaiming these freedoms isn't just, personal growth or self-help in the usual sense. No, it's presented as planetary service.
Planetary service? How so?
Well, because they say every individual who claims these freedoms actually stabilizes higher patterns in the collective field, influencing the larger human experience for everyone.
Wow. So individual choice ripples outwards.
That's the idea. So let's start with a really foundational concept from this material, this idea of the hand-me-down identity. It suggests most of us are carrying around an identity that's largely inherited, just sort of picked up.
Like clothes that don't quite fit.
Kind of, yeah. For example, they cite a 2015 Barna Group study. It found nearly 2/3 of Americans reported their family defined a lot of who they are. And religion, ancestry, social class, those also heavily shape their core self-image. It's like from childhood, we just absorb these identities, through constant reinforcement, rarely pausing to question if they're actually accurate for us.
Right, we just take them on board.
Exactly. And what this wisdom tradition reveals next about how these identities really solidify, this shifts the whole perspective on free will. It digs into this concept of micro-imprints.
Micro-imprints.
Yeah, small, persistent cues reinforcing who we're allowed to be, or even who we think we are. And then if you layer trauma on top of this, the pattern just intensifies.
Ah, okay.
So survivors might unconsciously fuse their core identity with the memory of an event, maybe repeating internal phrases like, I am unsafe, or I am powerless.
Yeah.
And over time, these harden, they solidify into an internal architecture that quietly dictates our choices.
Dictating choices from the background.
Yeah. But the exciting part, and the source really emphasizes this, is that this doesn't have to be permanent. It can be changed.
That's right. And maybe the most profound insight here is that your identity isn't just in your mind. It's literally like etched into your cells. And this transmission shows us how to rewrite it. Choosing to self-define, to go beyond that programming, that's described as a profound act of liberation.
Liberation.
Metaphysically, this is seen as alignment with your I am presence, which is essentially your oversoul's active living blueprint for who you're meant to become. And it's constantly evolving.
So not static.
Definitely not. This isn't superficial reinvention like putting on a new mask. It's described as an emergence. Your self-definition becomes this dynamic creation, authored in real time by your highest consciousness, rather than just being dictated by your past experience.
Authored in real time. I like that.
Yeah, and this concept of identity isn't just psychological, you know? From the Oversoul's perspective, identity is an energetic template, and that template informs the body right down to the cellular level. Think of outdated programming, like old software code running in the background, sending instructions that perpetuate certain emotional reactions, physiological stress patterns, that kind of thing. And the source then details how this works on a deeper, kind of multidimensional level, basically explaining how this Oversoul alignment rewrites cellular memory.
Okay, so how does that work? Multidimensionally.
Well, it breaks it down into 3 perspectives. From a psychological standpoint, our unconscious beliefs absolutely dictate our physiological states. For instance, if you carry the belief, I am unsafe, deep down, your nervous system can remain in a chronic, maybe low-level fight or flight mode.
Constantly on alert.
Exactly. Which then alters hormone output, can slow down healing, all sorts of physical effects. Then, if we look at neuroscience, memory isn't static, right?
Right.
It's malleable.
Right. We know that now.
Every time you recall a memory, there's a window to sort of re-tag it emotionally. And high coherence states, think deep meditation, or a technique like QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique.
QHHT.
Or even just conscious breath work. These states are described as allowing memories to lose their emotional charge and integrate differently. They don't disappear, but their grip loosens.
So you change your relationship to the memory.
Precisely. And then, from a metaphysical standpoint, this Oversoul alignment acts like a high-frequency software update. New instructions like, I am whole, I am free, I am guided, start to replace the old ones, the old programming.
Like upgrading the operating system.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And this leads to neuroplasticity, actually rewiring identity circuits in the brain. It can influence epigenetics, activating healing genes. Stagnant emotional charges can dissolve. This whole process, across psychology, neuroscience, and metaphysics, that's what the material refers to as rewriting cellular memory.
Wow. That framework really redefines deep when it comes to personal transformation, doesn't it? It makes me wonder, though, if identity is this energetic template, how quickly do these sources suggest we can actually see changes when we start trying to rewrite this cellular memory? Is it like, boom, an overnight shift? Or more gradual?
Well, they describe it as a dynamic creation, remember? So the initial software update, that connection, that decision to align, can feel rapid, almost instantaneous for some. But the integration into the physical and emotional body, that's more of a gradual unfolding. It's a repatterning that happens over time with practice.
Okay, so consistency is key.
Absolutely. Consistency in applying these principles is really what leads to lasting shifts.
Makes sense.
And speaking of profound shifts, let's talk about meaning. This wisdom tradition brings in the powerful words of psychiatrist Viktor Frankl.
Ah, yes. Man's search for meaning.
Exactly. The Holocaust survivor who famously called the ability to choose one's attitude and meaning in any circumstance the last of the human freedoms. And the source points out that most people, consciously or usually unconsciously, just adopt the meanings assigned to their experiences by parents, by society, by the media.
We just absorb the standard interpretation.
Right. But what if you could choose differently, even and especially in the face of immense challenge?
That idea that a loss can become an initiation or a setback can be reframed as a portal. It's incredibly powerful, very empowering. But, you know, for someone who's really in the midst of a truly challenging experience, how does this source suggest they even begin to find that different meaning? I mean, it sounds like an enormous ask when you're right in the thick of it.
That's a fair question. The material explains that meaning is a fundamental form of authorship. It's not about pretending the difficulty isn't there or spiritual bypassing.
Right. Not denying the pain.
Not at all. It's about choosing the lens by which you perceive it. When this freedom is fully claimed, it transforms every single life event, potentially, into a creative act. The source emphasizes that even in the darkest moments, you retain the sovereign power to decide what that experience means for you. So yes, a loss can become an initiation into deeper wisdom. A setback can be reframed as a portal to a purpose you hadn't seen before. Life stops feeling like it's just happening to us randomly.
And
Instead, it starts unfolding through us as a direct expression of our conscious choice of meaning.
that reframing from victim to author,
Yeah.
that feels revolutionary. And thinking about revolutionary acts, in our modern world, attention is absolutely monetized, isn't it? Every app, every website, every ad campaign is designed to capture and hold our attention, often pulling us in directions we didn't consciously choose.
It's the attention economy.
Exactly. And because of this, this transmission suggests that the simple choice of where we place our attention is, in itself, revolutionary.
Yeah.
So what are the consequences, from this source's perspective, of letting our attention be so fragmented all the time?
Well, they describe attention quite powerfully, actually, as pure life force.
Life force.
Yeah. So scattered attention fragments that energy. It makes us feel drained, ungrounded, easily swayed. While focused attention, consciously directed, that becomes creative power. Reclaiming this freedom, according to the source, means consciously refusing to be programmed by the algorithms, by the constant distractions, by the endless stream of crises, real or manufactured, designed to hijack our focus.
It's taking back the reins.
It is. It's the deliberate decision to place your awareness on what truly matters most to you. And in doing so, you actively participate in shaping your reality itself. It's presented as a fundamental act of deep sovereignty.
Sovereignty over your own focus. That's powerful. It also makes me think about another major driver. Fear. It's incredible when you stop and think about the historical impact of fear-driven decisions. This wisdom tradition highlights how they've shaped so much of human history.
On every level, yeah.
Right. So many choices, from the very personal right up to the societal, are rooted in fear. Fear of loss, fear of scarcity, fear of the other. But these sources invite us to consider the radical power of choosing a different motivational state. Is this like a practical choice for everyday life, or is it more of a profound, spiritual kind of transformation?
The way it's presented, it's absolutely both, acting from a place of love or curiosity or compassion. It isn't portrayed as naive or Pollyannish.
Not just wishful thinking.
No, it's described as evolutionary. When fear is no longer writing our internal scripts, the impacts are profound and actually very practical. They say relationships soften, creativity naturally expands, courage becomes less about forcing yourself and more of a natural byproduct of being aligned.
Okay, so it changes your actual state of being.
Exactly. And it's directly connected to what we discussed earlier about cellular memory. Love-based action, chosen consciously, effectively helps rewire the emotional body in much the same way that Oversoul alignment helps rewire cellular memory. It literally changes your internal state, your frequency, allowing you to respond to life from a higher, more coherent place.
This all sounds incredibly powerful, transformative even.
Yeah.
But the big question always is, how do we actually do it? How do we start? And thankfully, this transmission provides some really concrete, actionable insights, ways you can begin claiming these freedoms, like today.
Good. Practical steps are always helpful.
Definitely. So first, they suggest you audit your I am statements. Simple exercise. Take a moment, maybe grab a pen. Write down 10 sentences that start with I am. Then look at them. Identify which ones truly feel authentic to your soul, resonate deep down, and which ones might just be echoes of old programming, things you picked up along the way. This simple act creates immediate awareness.
Just seeing it on paper makes a difference.
It really does. Second, they suggest practicing conscious memory retagging. Recall a memory that still feels, charged with emotion, maybe something that still triggers you. Then perhaps in a quiet or meditative state, allow your higher self, that oversoul aspect we talked about, to meet that younger version of you in the memory and offer a new truth, a new perspective, a new understanding of that experience.
So you're actively rewriting the emotional imprint.
Exactly. Not changing the facts, but changing the meaning and the feeling attached to it. Third, try attention tracking. This is very direct. For a whole day, just notice where your attention goes. Is it drifting off constantly? Are you getting pulled into distractions? Are you focused? And each time it drifts from where you intended it to be, consciously, gently, bring it back to your chosen focus. It's a practice in building that muscle of conscious presence.
Training your focus like any other muscle.
Precisely. Fourth, engage in love-first decision practice. This one's powerful. Before you act or make a choice, especially a potentially reactive one, pause and ask yourself this simple question. If I acted from love instead of fear right now, what would I choose?
Shifting the energetic reference point before acting.
Yes, it completely shifts the basis of the decision. And finally, number 5, a simple but potentially profound oversoul connection ritual. To place your hand on your heart, take a few deep breaths, center yourself, and then affirm, maybe aloud or silently. I choose to live from my true I am. My Oversoul writes my life in real time, connecting consciously with that higher aspect.
Those are really accessible starting points.
If you feel doable, right?
Absolutely. And connecting this back to the bigger picture, from the Council of 52's perspective, the profound why this matters now is exactly what you mentioned earlier. Reclaiming these freedoms isn't just individual self-help. It is planetary service. Every single person who chooses to self-define beyond their old programming, who consciously chooses meaning in their experiences, who directs their attention with clear intention, and who learns to act from love, they become a stabilizing point in the collective field.
A stabilizing point.
Yes, these individuals literally begin to hold higher frequency patterns in what the Source calls the human grid. And these patterns aren't just abstract concepts. They say these patterns directly influence the psychic climate, the collective mood, maybe even the probabilities that manifest as future events for all of us.
So each person doing this inner work has a collective impact.
That's the core message. Think of it like each person becoming a clear signal, helping to tune the collective radio, so to speak, to a higher, more coherent frequency.
What a journey we've taken then, through these insights about true free will. We've explored how much of our perceived choice might be pre-scripted.
The hand-me-down identity.
Right, and the profound act of self-definition, rewriting even cellular memory, the power of choosing meaning, directing our attention consciously, shifting from fear to love. And we've got some practical steps to actually begin this reclamation. So, okay, what does this all mean for you, listening right now? The ultimate question posed by this really profound source isn't whether these freedoms exist. They state they do. The real question is, will you use them?
And claiming them, really stepping into them, will profoundly change your life. It opens up possibilities you might not have even imagined were available. But as we've discussed, it goes beyond just your personal experience. It will also change the human field. You literally become a signal, an embodied reminder to everyone around you and to the collective that true freedom isn't something granted from the outside. It's not dependent on external circumstances. It is claimed actively from within.
Claimed from within.
And from the Council's view, which is quite a perspective, each person who claims these freedoms becomes, in effect, a crucial bridge, a node of stability in what often feels like a constantly shifting, sometimes chaotic world, and ultimately a powerful co-author of the next chapter of human evolution.